Well, hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 1156 of What You Up To Now, documenting my journey as I transition from the brick and mortar corporate world of business to the online world of business. And it has been quite an interesting ride. So I hop on and I share every day what I'm working on, what's working, what's not, what I'm thinking about, what's crazy, what's mind-blowing, what's, disappointing. And we just chat about it for a couple of minutes. It's my way of keeping track of and journaling what I'm doing as I'm going through this journey. I got some vision challenges, so it's easier for me to actually hop on and create a video than it is to write out and journal what I'm doing. And it allows me the opportunity to go back and say, okay, well, I did that. I tried that webinar. It was a total bust. Or I did that summit and it was awesome. I want to do another one. Whatever it is, I want to capture what works and what doesn't work so I can share and save myself the trouble of doing things that don't work again, or tweaking and improving and figuring out, well, it didn't work the first time, why not? And then change and make a few changes to figure out how to make the particular thing I'm doing work. I've done that with challenges. I've done challenges for decades now. And I started out in my offline life doing challenges just for myself. And I tweaked and changed and figured out what worked for me. And then a couple of years ago, probably 4 years ago or so, I started doing them online. And even before then, when I was still in the Italian food manufacturing business, I was doing challenges on the side on a blog. So I'm sure those are out there somewhere, but I'm not going to disclose where they are unless somebody specifically asks, because I'd probably be embarrassed by them at this stage of the game, but they're out there for anybody to see. And that's what leads me sort of to my topic today. Our idiom for supersize your business was there's no such thing as bad publicity. P.T. Barnum, of course, made this famous, the 19th century American. I guess we started out as a self-publicist and a politician and then went into being a showman and a circus owner. He didn't become the circus owner for Barnum and Bailey Circus until actually after he had become rich and famous and retired. One of my favorite stories about P.T. Barnum is the mermaid story, and it's too long to share here, but it is a great story about how he created buzz and publicity and the truth and the reality around something that was an absolute falsehood and lie. They had somebody had found a mermaid, supposedly a live mermaid, which was really like a monkey body and a fish body joined together. And he actually found experts and people to authenticate the reality of this mermaid, that it was a real mermaid. And it was available for 1 week only, and people came and saw this mermaid and they were like, oh my God, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Yet he made millions of dollars back then on this presentation. So he's goes down in history as a great marketer and a great not manipulator, but a great user of publicity. And that got me to thinking about publicity and how much of it we can and cannot impact, what we can and cannot do to make sure that we're showing our organization and ourselves in the best light. And a lot of it is outside of our control. A lot of it is controlled by other people, especially nowadays with social media, where people can go online and they can make up false things and false statements, and other people will believe them, and they'll be carried throughout the search engines just because a lot of people read or see them. So we've seen that in politics. We've seen that in famous people's careers in the last, since the internet has become so popular. We've seen people be created and made famous overnight, and we've seen people who were famous be destroyed overnight through negative publicity. Now, negative publicity, just like positive publicity, can be turned around. Think of people like Miley Cyrus. Think about President Trump, former President Trump. Whether you like him or hate him, he was and continues to be a media behemoth. He creates controversy, both positive and negative. Either you love him or you hate him. Kind of like Howard Stern. Remember back in the day, Howard Stern, he studied his audience and found out that more of his audience, regular listeners, actually hated him than liked him. And I think that a lot is true, that can be used to your advantage, because no noise, no attention is worse than bad attention in many circumstances. And again, a lot of times bad publicity or bad attention is just a matter of opinion. And I will defend to my dying breath people's right to have an opinion. That's what America's all about. We have a right, whether we agree with one another or not, to state what our opinion is. That's what America was founded on, is freedom of speech. And so when we see that deteriorating, we can not say anything and people will just think we agree with it, or we can stand up and we can say, yeah, this isn't right. So you know, I think you're goofy. I don't agree, but you have the right to say what you want to say and have your opinion. There's a lot of goofy opinions out there, especially in the world, especially on the internet, that are just beyond belief. And if we allow censorship and people to have some opinions shut down and not others, then it's a very quick and slippery slope. It's more like a landslide than it is just a little slippery slope. So no such thing as bad publicity. And that led to, or as another part of what I'm doing, is a 365-day challenge to do one thing every day that centers you, or centers me in this case, because I do my challenges right along with other people. And today was about not regretting, and it doesn't say not regret. I guess I just added that in my mind. It's about rejoicing the things that we have and not grieving the things that we don't have. So sometimes things come in and out of our life for a reason, and they're there to show us and teach us something. Actually, everything that comes in and out of our life is there to show us or teach us something. It's up to us to figure out whether we learn the lesson from that, or if we experience it in a positive way, or if we take what we take with that is totally up to us. I guess is what I'm trying to say. But today's was about not regretting, or not missing the things, or not grieving the things that are no longer in our life. And a very good friend, a lady that I've known my whole life, passed away this past week of Alzheimer's. She had very advanced dementia, so she's been struggling the last couple of months in particular, and especially during COVID, when people can't go visit our people, you know, and our relatives and our friends that are sick and in nursing homes. That just causes them to deteriorate, I think, all the faster. I mean, people need other people. We need company. We need companionship, and I think that is part of one of the biggest tragedies of the whole COVID pandemic and the way it's been handled, is that people are becoming less kind to one another, and we need to do just the opposite. So working on that. Get Up and Go challenge. I have decided that this will be my final free Get Up and Go 30+ day challenge coming up. This 7th one, starting April 1st to May 1st. I'm going to do one more, and then we'll see what happens with that. I'm not going to stop doing challenges, obviously. Somebody asked me yesterday, she's like, what do you mean this is your final challenge? And it's not my final challenge. It's just the final challenge of the Get Up and Go series. I created that during COVID as a way to actually get my own rear end gear and get moving and keeping moving forward during all the craziness of the pandemic last year, and making sure that I was making positive changes with each iteration of the challenge. And this year, I did it in February because I really missed it in January. And I was like, geez, it's such an outage. It keeps me literally moving and growing in the direction I want to grow. So I missed it. So I did it in February, and I promised I would do it again in April. And since I promised that, I'm doing it one more time free. And then I'm saying it's going to change. How I do and what I do with challenges, and with that particular challenge, is going to change. It doesn't mean it's going to go away, but it's going to change and morph into something different, because it's time. We've had a whole year of, I guess, licking our wounds as the world has changed. And it's time now to stop that if we're still in that loop and telling the same story about, ain't it awful because I lost my job? Isn't it awful because my business was shut down? And if we're still living in that instead of finding solutions, if we're not focusing on the solutions, we're in big trouble a year later. And so I don't want to be, and I'm hoping that the Get Up and Go challenge has been an impetus to change and move forward in a positive way. But I want to do that one more time, and then we'll go to the next thing. So I think we're ready for a level up, a step up to, okay, we've been through this for a year. We've done this. We got this. What's next? What's the next thing we need to do besides just getting good at decision making, having a framework for handling changes and challenges, and knowing that we're always going to be better off because we have this framework built into our subconscious. And it just automatically, every time we're faced with a challenge or a change or a problem, we automatically go through the SOAP framework, and we look at the story, what it is going on, what do we want, and then the gap in between. And the SOAP framework is all about filling that gap in between in the best way possible for us, in order to continue to make progress and growth in the direction that we want to go. And once we've got that down and we're doing that automatically, what is the next thing we need to do to really get momentum and continue to progress in the direction we want to go? Whether it's in our physical health, our mental health, our emotional health, and there's a lot of emotional, spiritual deficiencies and negative emotional things going on with people. as a result of this pandemic. And is it the pandemic's fault? No, but has it exacerbated a lot of problems that were already there? Communication problems, relationship problems, business problems. There's businesses, hundreds of thousands of businesses that have failed during the pandemic, but there's also hundreds of thousands of businesses that have been created out of the pandemic. There are industries that were non-existent that are now billion-dollar industries due to the pandemic. Whenever one thing, we live in a polar universe. There's balances, there's plus and minuses to everything. So when one thing happens negatively, something else counteracts and balances it positively. Maybe not in our own life, unless we're making sure that happens for us, but out in the world as a global accounting, I guess. So that's what I am working on. If I can help you anyway, I'm actually getting ready for this next 30-day challenge. I want to make a couple of tweaks in it. I want to do a couple more formal things in it. And then I'm probably going to offer that, if I'm thinking out loud, I'm probably going to offer that whole seven 30-plus day challenges. But in between the challenges, a couple of the times, I did daily life lessons learned, or what No Nonsense November we did. And it was just common sense things that, common sense isn't so common anymore, that we did every day. We did something, a big life lesson learned, or a No Nonsense November. We did a couple of those. So actually Guide 10, formerly known as Units, in the Get Up and Go Challenge private Facebook group will be the 7th challenge, but we've got 10 units in there because we did other things as well along the way last year. I found and have found that when I do a little thing every single day to move me toward what it is that I want, I get there automatically because I create habits and rituals and things, little bitty things in my life every day that I know are going to move me toward what I want. And then once I get the thing that I want, then I replace that with something else. And then I find, how do I break that down daily? What do I need to do daily to get that thing that I want? One of the things that I want is to create content. So I create content every single day. Drives my family nuts, but I do it because it's helping me to grow and move in the direction that I want to go. All right, that's all I've got. Have an awesome day. Any questions, hit me up in the comments below or direct message. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow. Take care.